What did Vice President Harris have to say about this issue?
So we saw her not only accuse what she likes to call so-called leaders of pushing propaganda, but she also said that they were willfully misleading children about the impacts and the negative things about slavery, as well as other parts of American history.
This is a completely made-up deal. I looked at the standards. I even looked at an analysis of the standards. I even read the statement of the African-American scholars that wrote the standards. Everybody involved in this says this is completely a fabricated issue. And yet, look how quickly Kamala Harris jumped on it.
Yes, this Kamala Harris lies pertaining to slavery is taking another level. Like you have seen here, this is CNN. I don't want to play all that clip. Recently, White House asked to comment on the lies against Black history. Karine says we cannot pick or choose our history. We should learn everything about our history, the good and the ugly. Blast Republicans.
First time that the history and the truth of Black America has been obscured, had revisionist history, and as you said, lied on. How do you marry these two moments with the president's announcement tomorrow, as there are those who believe, one, that African-American history has been lied on, propagated by this administration? How do you make this a significant moment, as it was in history, for those in this moment who don't believe it?
So the president has made it very clear. We cannot pick or choose our history. We can't. We should learn everything about our history, the good and the ugly. The president has said this over and over again, right? And he's made that very clear. When you think about the National Monument, it tells the story of events surrounding Emmett Till's murder, right? And I said this earlier. It was a significant event, a sad event that led to the Civil Rights Movement. And we need to continue to tell that story, tell his story, and not just his story, the story of his mother. And what she tried to do to make sure that what he went through was not lost. And so, as we talk about the Civil Rights Movement, as we talk about Emmett Till's story, this is American history. And it is the broader story of American Black oppression, the survival, and the bravery in America. All of that is connected. And so, yes, it's an important moment. You're going to hear directly from the president tomorrow. So I would certainly say to you to tune in. He'll speak to this more specifically and more directly. And so what I can promise you is that this administration is certainly committed to making sure that we tell America's and this nation's complete story. And that's what you've seen from this president over and over again.
So how do you plan to do that beyond tomorrow? Because this is not stopping from Florida to everywhere else. How do you plan to continue to tell this story? As again, there are still segments of society who don't either want to hear it or believe it's a lie.
So a couple of things. You heard from the vice president directly, right? She gave a very forceful rebuke of what is going on in Florida under that governor's leadership. And so that's something that you're going to continue to hear. You're going to continue to hear from this administration speaking out and being very clear about how dangerous that type of rhetoric is to our country and to our history. So you'll hear that. I think tomorrow is an important moment coming from this administration, showing and lifting up a story of Emmett Till by acknowledging, making sure we continue to acknowledge what he went through. The event that happened, again, led to the Civil Rights Movement. And so that monument is important. I think it's important for the president to be able to do this, the fourth one in his administration. So you'll hear directly from the president, and he'll continue to speak to this. One of the four crises that he talked about when he walked into this administration was racial injustices, what we were seeing in this country, and how we needed to continue to fight, and we needed to continue to uplift what we're seeing across the country over the past couple of years, not just a couple of years, but over what we have seen over the past decades. And so this is a president that doesn't shy away from that and is going to continue to speak up.
She is crazy. She warned that they should continue to educate young people. She actually loved the idea on how They have been dividing people for so long. Now Florida taking up this decision to put up a curriculum that can actually bring back people together. Libras are melting down. Somebody sent out this tweet. The lies from press secretary and her woke race hustler called she doesn't want everything taught, just the reverse fake news history they invent to push racist agenda and division. A teacher in Florida sent this out. I am a teacher in Florida. These statements are absolutely false. There is nowhere in our curriculum that tells students that black benefited from slavery. We teach black history and their contribution made to America. The Biden administration should be held liable for the lies. That is it. They should be held liable for their lies. I was impressed when I saw this. This is a teacher actually sending this out. It is just similar like don't say gay bill. When you read through that bill, it says the contrary. They made it to me like if you go to Florida, you cannot say gay. If you do that, you can be arrested. This is concerning. They always twist things, to fit in their narratives. How can you tell me a curriculum that have been put up? How can you tell me this curriculum is selective? So you actually happy, to continue seeing how people are being divided, these racist ideas, inflected into people. This sound to me like Democrats are actually enjoying it. Because if you don't benefit from all this, you will not insist that this should be happening on daily basis. It has actually reached a certain time where people are realizing what they have been doing for some time. And putting a stop to this will actually create an awareness. You will start seeing people coming together. This issue of black, white will start fading away. Because they have been using this history, like when you think of how your ancestors, you start hating on other people. What is happening?
So don't sit here and tell me one side of the story that black people may have had an enhancement when white people really benefited the most and continue to do so today.
Talk about the
and
banking.
I believe that's what they are trying to hide.
Talk about all of it. Talk about the banking that if you were black, you couldn't get a loan.
Yeah.
Okay? Talk
you couldn't
about
get a home.
You couldn't get a home.
You couldn't get the vet loan.
You couldn't drink certain water from certain.
But that's why it's so upsetting when people say, but I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't own slaves. No, but you continue to reap the benefits of it. And I think if you want to, DeSantis or whoever in Florida, if you want to teach both sides of those stories, I'm all for that. Well,